this thing on? Okay. Hey, what's going on, everyone? So I wasn't actually gonna make this video. And there's a bunch of reasons for it, but I figured why not just make the video? Why not just I guess give my opinion on the whole awakening system slash trait system, whatever you want to call it. And keep in mind that these are my opinions. They probably will change. But anyway, the awakening and trait system. First and foremost, I kind of think that everyone needs to understand that at the end of the day, Square Enix is a business, and while it is a business, it also has to please their customer base. And being a business also means you have to make some weird decisions at times. And while the North American version hasn't been treated fairly, I guess you could say, compared to the Japanese version, we have to keep in mind that we've had the game for over a year, and I don't necessarily understand why people are continually comparing the games. I always hear people saying, oh, well, JP has this and the North American version doesn't, and so on and so forth. And I understand it. It's frustrating. We barely got Mickey and Brooms, and then they throw this at us, and it's frustrating because you have people. Okay, so you have a customer base, right? And we're strictly speaking on the North American version, not the JP version, but you have a customer base. You have people who pay for the game, people who put their money and time into the game, and then you have those who, I don't want to call them casuals, but you have people who don't necessarily invest. Let's just call them free to play, right? Free to play players. You have those two players in this game, and you're basically, on one hand, you're helping one player and then kind of pushing the other away, right? But at the same time, you're not necessarily pushing them away. And I'm talking about you're pushing the well, necessarily you're kind of pushing both players in essence. But let me backtrack because I'm getting kind of all over the place. What I'm really trying to say is that the trait system is kind of a good thing. And it's a good thing because, like I said, there was already a huge gap between free-to-play players and pay-to-play, excuse me. And that gap was increasingly getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which with each and every banner, right? And I feel as though with this new system that has just been released, it gives the free-to-play players, or maybe the players who are just barely getting into the game, more of an opportunity to kind of catch up, and not necessarily kind of be left in the dust with the people who were paying, the money to get the best medals, guilted. And then you have the side where the people who already have all these medals guilted are kind of pushed to the side because you have those medals now, and they're essentially useless, unless of course you can pull another medal of that same medal. But again, it goes both ways. It's bad and then it's a good thing. And again, we're just strictly speaking in the NA version, because it is frustrating that we did barely get Mickey and Brooms, and essentially Mickey and Brooms is not worthless, but it's not the same thing that it was when JP had first when JP had first received Mickey and Brooms. In essence, we're just basically getting these items thrown at us essentially, and I could see where the community is coming from, but I also think that the community should be a little bit more accepting. Just because, it's already been a year. If you expected to get Mickey and Brooms anytime sooner than that, and come on guys, like, we're already a year into the game. They just kind of threw Mickey and Brooms at us. I think you should know what type of or how they run the game. I don't think we should have ever kind of expected Mickey and Brooms after they never responded to their customers. And I'm not exactly sure when the trait system will come in, or when Union Cross will come into play as well. But I do think we should give the trait system a chance. I think it's kind of a good thing, really. This will kind of help like the new player base. And I'm not talking about people who just recently got into the game yesterday. I'm talking about people who don't necessarily have the money to drop on the game in order to gilt medals. Like with some of the first key arts that came out, you know, you had people who were paying a ton of money to get these medals gilted, and they put them so far into the game. Or with some of the high score challenges, when you were pulling for those medals in order to get your boosted stats. I feel like this kind of gives those who don't necessarily put that much money into the game, I guess, an opportunity. Because if you can pull two of the, I know how it sounds, because it's like, oh well, you know, Cena probably won't give us any mercy pulls, so that's still gonna make it harder for people to pull that same medal twice. And yeah, you know, you might be right. It might make it a little bit harder for people to get those medals, I guess. But in essence, it's kind of like, I guess you can say, it kind of gives the other player, that free-to-play player, an opportunity just as equal as the person who's paying the money, you know? And again, it might not be the best example of it, but in my opinion, I feel like it's kind of a way to get other players caught up, I guess. Because Mickey and Brooms no longer matters in the game. And it sucks because, again, JP gets treated so much better, blah, 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 right? But at the end of the day, I think we should all just kind of give it an opportunity and see what happens with it. It may create a bigger gap between the free-to-play and pay-to-play players. You never, I mean, it might and it might not. I guess the only way to really tell it is when the system comes out, you know? But till then, I guess there's not much we can do. I mean, if you're still playing this game, there's not really much you can do, you know? You either play it or you don't. And it's super frustrating that this kind of stuff happens, you know, because they just kind of threw Mickey and Brooms at us, and they decided that, hey, here are Mickey and Brooms, and then they give you two, and then decide the next week, oh, you know what, we're just kidding, forget about Mickey and Brooms, we're going to give you guys the Awakening system, which apparently, I haven't really looked into it too much, but the Japanese version, I've heard a lot of people say that it's not, or it kind of breaks the game, I guess. And again, we'll just have to wait and see for the North American version, see what happens. But I understand why everyone's frustrated, but I feel as though we should just give it a try at least, and maybe just see what happens, you know, because as it stands, we don't know how they're going to do the transition from Unchained to Union Cross. As everyone knows, in the JP version, the tiers have moved up to 6 or 7 or something like that. So with the new Kyrie medal, I'm not saying it's useless, but it's no longer the game changer that it was in previous game, or I'm sorry, before. We are receiving things a little bit faster because of this Union Cross update, if you guys could not tell. But that's for a whole nother video. I'm just want to give my opinion and thoughts, I guess. Essentially what I'm saying is, I guess I would say it's a good thing. I would say it's kind of giving people an opportunity, those who don't necessarily pay for the game, I mean, it's kind of an equal opportunity, is what I'm saying. I'm definitely not bashing on those who pay for the game, but I want to think that it's kind of a excuse me, it's kind of a way for those who don't pay for the game to kind of catch up, I guess. And that's really all I have to say, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Just let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are pretty upset with it. Thank you, guys.